Welcome back to another episode of Project CL500. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today, as you can see, we're back in the car. I finally got it sorted out. Got the shifter put in and it's back running. I finally fixed it. Saved myself a ton of money by doing it myself because the dealership, you don't want to know what they was going to charge. But we got the car back on the road. That's the main thing. So right now, what we have to do is, I have a bad tire and I have to go get a temporary tire right now, or AKA a used tire. Go get that until the tire that I ordered comes in, so we can still drive around for it in the meantime. But it's raining outside. That's why I'm recording inside the car right now. It sucks that the video, I finally get the car fixed and back on the road. It's raining outside. But, you know, just Mother Nature. Can't do nothing about it. But we're back. I'm so happy that the car is back on the road. This has been tough to figure out how to fix this problem in this car. So what I actually did, let me kind of show you and walk you through. Try to do the best I can. Before we do all that, first let's go get this tire, get it changed, and we can come back and maybe I'll pull the car in the garage and we'll go ahead and go through that because it's raining. It's nasty outside today. And last 2 days has been pretty nasty, so you know, we'll see. But let's go ahead, get to the shop, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so we got the new tires on the car. Well, not new, but the used ones. These are what I got until the new ones come in. They have decent tread on them, so they'll do for now until my new ones come in. But that's all we got going for now, guys. She's back on the road. She's running again. I couldn't be more happier. All right, guys, we got the tires put on. We're about to head back to the house. And I'm gonna walk y'all through how I did the shifter in this car, how I got my car back running, all the things I had to do to bypass the computer and everything, and basically get the car back on the road. But yeah, man, she's back. She's running good. I miss this car. I ain't gonna lie. I love this car. It's a great project car if you know what you're doing, if you're able to do the work on your own. But if you gotta go to a mechanic or take this thing to the dealership, yeah, you're not gonna be happy with this car at all. I'm telling you now. This is not a car for somebody who don't know how to work on cars. But just trying to watch out for this traffic out here, because these people in Florida cannot drive. I'm serious about that. But yeah, man, it's crazy because it's been a long road getting this car back on the road. It took a lot of research, a lot of patience, a lot of heartbreak, especially after talking to the dealership. I mean, at one point, I'm not even gonna lie, I thought I was gonna have to sell this car. And I thought I was going to have to sell it as a parts car because I could not for the life of me figure out how to get this car back on the road the right way. But thank God I didn't give up. I kept at it, kept doing my research, kept trying to figure it out, and finally I figured it out. So, and what's crazy about it, it was so easy to fix once I figured it out. It's not like it was something that was impossible. I mean, anybody could have did what I did. It was that easy. But I'm gonna tell you now, if you ever own one of these cars and you come across this problem and you depending on the dealership to fix it, it would definitely, the insurance would definitely for sure total out your car. Because this is crazy. Because for one, the shifter, you can't even buy out of the store, for one. That's a no-go. You're not getting the shifter out of the store over the counter. Mainly because it's a security feature for the car. So the dealership will not sell you one over the counter. You have to buy it through them. And the price of the shifter is $1,070 just for the shifter. Now, the labor involved starts out at $650. Notice I said starts out at $650. Yeah. So it can go up. So you could easily end up spending over $2,000 just to replace the gear selector in the car, which is insane. But the route I went, I replaced everything for right around $200. Yeah. So I saved a ton of money. And she's cranked up and worked first time around. As soon as I got her everything back in, she worked automatically. And I almost couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, just something so simple can create a problem so big. She still got it. But so basically, I'm heading back to the house. I could go ahead and tell y'all exactly what I replaced. So in order to fix this shifter problem where the light will not come on the dashboard, which is pretty much a death sentence for this car unless you know what to do, and there's like no videos on YouTube about this. This is why once I get back to the house, I'm gonna go into detail. But you have to find a donor car basically that's in good condition, good running, working condition. Because for one, you need the shifter out of that car. You need the EIS, the ignition system, out of the car. Basically the ignition switch, you need that out of the car. And you need the engine ECU out of that same car. So you need those three things. Now, once you get those three things, the hardest part is swapping out the gear selector. But other than that, everything else is easy. The only problem I had, which took me a while, was pulling out my ignition, because my old one, I guess because this car was so old and sat for so long before I bought it, the little tabs that you, and I'll show you this, the little tabs that's in the ignition switch that you use to turn were broken off, and I only had one. So I had to improvise. But other than that, I'm gonna say the whole job will probably take 30 minutes, if that, and your car will be back running. No, I lied, maybe an hour, because the shifter is so much, you gotta take pretty much the whole center console out for the shifter. But it really wasn't that difficult. So that's pretty much all I had to do. And like I said, it took a ton of research, Google, YouTube, figuring things out, putting two and two together. And Yeah, I finally figured it out because, like I said, there are zero videos on YouTube on how to exactly do this. So your boy had to figure some stuff out. So I'm glad I finally figured it out, and I'm able to put this content out for other people that might run into this problem, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that scrap their cars over this issue because there's just no getting around it. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the 2003 model is where they fixed this issue. Not 100% correct, not correct, but I'm not 100% sure of that, but I believe that's what they did. So, yeah. I'm telling you, it's crazy what you gotta go through with these cars. But once you get them straight and sorted out, man, they are super fun to drive. So, but yeah, I finally got my used tires on until I get my new tires in. And I ain't gonna lie, these used tires I got, they look damn near brand new. But I still got my other tires coming, so I'm gonna wait on that. But yeah, I'm gonna get to this house and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did, how I did it, go through the whole process. So I'll see you guys when I get there. All right, guys, we are back at the house, and now I'm going to show you the process and what it took for me to get this car back on the road, get this gear selector back showing on the dash. Let me put the key in so I can show you guys exactly what I did. Like I said, it was a pretty easy process. It just took a lot of figuring out. So, like I said before, you couldn't see the gear selector on the dashboard, which now you can, and that will be this right here. This wouldn't show up, and that was causing the car to not shift correctly. It's basically putting it in limp mode, and car wouldn't act right. And I'll go ahead and show you guys what I did to get that problem resolved. So, first of all, we needed to order a new gear selector, which I did. And my first step was to swap out the gear selector. It's basically, you have to take out the whole center console. This whole piece you have to take out. Now, once you get that out, it's like 3 bolts for the gear selector to pull that out. It's not hard at all. I wish I could have made a video for you guys, but like I said, I was trying to figure it out, and by the time I figured it out, put everything back together, I really didn't feel like taking it back apart. So that's basically your first step, is swapping out your gear selector. All right, your next step is to swap out your EIS or your ignition switch. Now, the only downside to this is you're going to have a different key. And unfortunately, I ended up with this ugly Mercedes key compared to the key I had before. Let me pull that out of my pocket, which personally I like a whole lot better, which was this key. I think these keys look a whole lot nicer. They're, you know, more flashy than this ugly key I have now. So now this is the key I have that starts and locks and unlocks my car now, so I'm stuck with this key. Well, I mean, it's a small price to pay to having to swap this out. So yeah, so basically, in order to take the ignition out, which is, you need a special tool. So let me go grab that for you guys real quick. Okay, so in order to get the ignition out, like I said, you need a special tool. This is that special tool. And basically it just goes in here and you turn it. You keep turning it until the ignition comes out. But like I said, on mine, a couple of the tabs were broke. So I had to improvise. And what I did was I used needle nose pliers and basically put it around the ignition and turned it that way and got it out. It was a little hard, but you know, it is what it is, and I was able to get that out. So now, like I said, once you get the ignition out, the gear selector out, which I didn't need any special tools for that. Just, matter of fact, I can show you what I use for that. Okay, to get your gear selector out, what you're going to need is a T30, which is this right here. You can see that. It's basically a T30. This is what I use to get the gear selector out. It's 3 bolts that you use to get it out with. So like I said, that's your first step. Then you use a special tool, which is this guy right here, to get your ignition out, and you just stick it in there and just turn it. These holes are lined up. See if I can get it right there. And you can stick something like a screwdriver or something to help you turn if you need to. And the third and final step to getting this car is this right here, is the engine ECU, which is this piece right here. Basically, it has tabs. Let's see, these tabs right here, you just pull them back. They're real easy. These tab right here, and there's another one on the other side back here. You just pull those back and this whole thing slides right out. You have to take all these wires out in order to get it out and to put it back in, but those are super easy to do. So that's it. That's pretty much all I had to do to get the car back on the road, is those 3 things. And I told you, super simple. It's just, I caught hell trying to figure that out and figure out what I had to do to get it, because I am not by far any kind of Mercedes mechanic. I never worked on Mercedes before. This is my first time. So it was a learning process. But as far as the parts go that I got, this is basically what you would need, which is the engine ECU, the EIS, the ignition, and the gear selector. This right here goes to the ignition. This is so when you turn the key, it unlocks the gear selector. I didn't change this out. I didn't have to, but you can if you want to. So I ended up not using this. But, you know, if you want to replace that, you can, but you really don't have to. But yeah, that's it. So pretty much with the EIS, see if I could do this on one hand. In order to take it out, you just take the tool, stick it in like so, and you just turn it. But, it's kind of hard to do it one hand, but you basically just turn it until it comes out. And that's pretty much it. But as you can see, it's back up and running. But let me go ahead and crank it up and show you guys. I could go through all the gears they show on the dashboard, and that it's actually working. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and crank up the car to show you that it works. As you can see, we get a closer view. The gear selector is showing on the dashboard now. I'll put it in reverse. Shows in reverse, neutral, and drive. And that's what you want it to do. Neutral, reverse, and park. And that's where you want it at. That's what you want it to show. So this way your car can get back to shifting correctly. And as you can see, there's still no lights on the dashboard. No check engine lights. So everything's running right. As far as the mileage, I've heard that the mileage changes when you change the engine ECU. It changes to the donor car. But as for me, I really don't see any difference. It really didn't change. But that's it. I mean, she's been running right. AC still blows cold. There's really no issues right now. Next up, I do have to get the wheel bearings changed out because they do make a little slight noise when I go in reverse. So that's something else I'm gonna tackle. But other than that, she's back on the road, and I couldn't be more happier. I pretty much saved myself around $2,000 by doing the work myself. I really learned a lot by working on these cars. I mean, German engineering is something that's, I mean, these cars, they put a lot of thought and detail into these cars. I mean, you can't really get any better than what they engineered these cars to be. And this is a 2002. So if they had all this technology in 2002, imagine what they have now. I'm not gonna lie, I like the newer cars, but I'm a big fan of the older cars. I've always been like that. I've always liked old school cars. But I'm starting to like the newer cars now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's the three things you got to do is the gear selector, the EIS, the ignition switch, and the engine ECU, which I showed you under the hood. If your light ever goes out on your dash for your gear selector, your car will not shift correctly and will go into limp mode. And the dealership will tell you, oh, you got to bring it in. You got to diagnose it, which is about $180 to do that. And then the gear selector itself is $1,070. Then, like I said, the labor starts at $650 and goes up from there. So you're looking at well over $2,000 to get the gear selector swapped out of your car. Basically, an hour's worth of work is going to cost you over $2,000. That's basically what they're telling you. And I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, that's, considering the car is really not that bad, because this car was $100,000 or a little bit over 100 grand, brand new. But, you know, that's a lot of money for a car that's well over 10 years old. So, I mean, to each his own. Actually, this car is almost 20 years old now. So yeah, that's a lot of money to spend in a car that's almost 20 years old. But these cars are starting to go up in value. I've noticed online, like the CL500, you can barely find one in good condition for under 10 grand right now. So they've gone up. Most of them range between $13,000, $14,000 right now for a CL500. CL500 is a little cheaper. I really haven't found a good one for under 8 grand for a CL500. And the CL500s are ranging between 7 to 8 grand all the way up to like $12,000 for a good one. So, I mean, these cars are starting to go back up in value a little bit. They did dip down a few years ago. And you could get them dirt cheap. But now their value on them, I guess people are starting to recognize them and notice how rare they are to see these out on the road. People are starting to fix them up and keep them up. But yeah, it's a great car. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is a great car. So that's about it for now. That's all I got. Like I said, car's back on the road. Everything's running good. She runs smooth still. So now we can get back to other projects that I've had for over a year now to do to this car. And I'm looking forward to getting that started. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all for hanging in there. I know it's been a while since I made videos. It's mainly because I've been trying to figure out what to do with this car. And like I said, I came real close to giving up and selling it because it was just that frustrating. There was, like I said, 0 videos out here on this car on what to do. And I'm glad I'm the first one to be able to bring this to you guys. So if any of you other guys have this issue with this car, now you know what to do. Oh, and one more other thing. The reason that these shifters go out, because if you spill anything on these, it pretty much kills it. If it gets wet, that's it. It's done. And that's pretty much what I was told what happened. And as you know, when I bought this car, I believe it was a flood car, but it was never titled as a flood car. But from looking underneath the car, I could tell the car was sitting in some water at some point. But yeah, that's about it for now. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, because now I'm back rolling. We definitely have a whole lot more tips and tricks for this car and other projects I got going on that I'm going to be doing with this car. So again, thank you guys. And until next time, I'm out.